Class is in session. No, I'm totally kidding. How many YouTubers start their videos like that? I feel like actually probably a lot of people say that. But I'm just goofing around. I'm just goofing around. Welcome to October. I hope you enjoy my cozy October setup. I'm certainly enjoying it. I'm a cozy bitch at heart. I love to put on my fuzzy socks and my sweatpants and have my tea or my coffee and my fall ambiance on the TV and just like chill with a good book, with my journal, whatever. Like, if I could get paid to do that, bitch, I would be making so much money. So today we're talking about your creative vision. Your creative vision, that idea, that inspiration, that creative project that you've carried in your heart for so long. It constantly is calling to you, pulling at you. And for some reason, girl, it hasn't happened. It's not moving forward. You're sitting on the idea. And I hope that this video can help you to start taking those very initial steps to start to get the ball rolling because we need your creative visions to actually be birthed through your body out into tangible reality. One of the most common things that I see with artists and creative people, which, hi, hi, me, is it you too? Okay, cool. We're on the same page. Is we receive these beautiful visions and these ideas and creative worlds in our minds up here as inspiration. And we just get stuck living in that world. Like we can see it so clearly, we can experience it so clearly, but we get stuck in how do you actually pull that through and make it real so that other people can experience it? Because we need to be experiencing your magic and your creativity. That's why you were put on this earth. So, as you can tell by the title of this video, is something that is so often missing when trying to turn a vision, an idea into reality to make it real, is bones, a foundation, the structure. Your creative vision needs bones. And this goes back to the concept of yin and yang. We need both that creative, flowy spaciousness, almost this chaos that can just exist. And that's where the inspiration can just come through and not be controlled in any way. And then at some point, we have to be able to create a structure, a container to hold that creative energy in order to channel it specifically into some kind of something, whether it's a book or whether you want to start a podcast or you want to make a painting or what it could be literally anything. You want to start a business, taking an idea, no matter what it is, and turning it into something that you can experience in this reality, that other people can experience in this reality. That is the creative process. It doesn't matter what it is. So I have my notebook here. I'm going to just be referencing this as I did write out some notes for this video. So anyways, let's go ahead and get right into it. So I want you to start thinking about your creative vision, your idea as a living being. And you are the steward of bringing it into life. You're the steward of this creative vision. That is your relationship to this vision. And that's such a beautiful, potent way to start reframing and thinking about your relationship to your creativity, your creative process, to this specific idea. It's a relationship. So you can start to ask yourself, what does this relationship need in order to thrive? And you can think about it as any relationship, as a relationship you would want with a partner, with a business partner, with a best friend. And so this is where your process of getting honest and being able to self-reflect and really think about, what is this relationship requiring of me? What is it asking of me? What does it need to be nurtured? Those answers have to come from you. They have to come from within. But some common things, maybe some places to start that really, I feel like, in my opinion, any relationship needs to thrive is love and devotion, honesty and authenticity, and harmony of structure and flow. So again, that's that dance between yin and yang, giving things structure so that you can flow within the structure without getting completely lost And before you know it, you're like, wait, what was I even trying to do anymore? Like, I'm totally off on a tangent. And I want to just make a note and say that, like, that's important. So don't be so structured and strict that, like, you never give yourself space to just creatively wander. As artists, we need to creatively wander. We need to be bored. We need to be alone in our own process, in our heads, daydreaming, imagining, thinking about things. And we also need to have some kind of creative practice where we can just create for the sake of creating without any kind of goal or end destination or trying to monetize it or make it something. I think that's so important to nurture the soul of the artist, is to just allow yourself to create in this messy, unpredictable landscape and get curious about where it's taking you. So it's important to incorporate that into your overall creative practice and process. However, if you have a specific vision, a specific goal, something that you're like, I want to write this book. I want to create an album. I want to put this thing out into the world. Like, I have the vision. I just need to do it. That's when we need to bring in that structure. And we do need to start thinking about this a little bit more in, I don't want to say like a business sense, but I think there is such a beautiful marriage that can happen between art and creativity and discipline and devotion. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. Like, they can actually be woven together and amplify each other in order to create the work that you came here to create, your body of work, living your life as an artist. So the pre-work to this, if you're taking notes or want to go through this after the video, is start to view your creative vision as its own living being that you are in relationship with, and you are here to steward that into reality and start to ask yourself, what does this relationship need right now? What is it missing? Where have I been neglecting this relationship? What is it asking of me? So once you have that, now we're going to move into the bones of your creative vision. And now, for simplicity's sake, I'm mentioning the top three that I want to talk about today. There's nitty gritty that we can get into, and that's a lot of the work that I do with my one-on-one clients. But I want to keep this high level, and I don't want to overcomplicate this. This is not something that has to be complicated. I think so often when we're thinking about birthing a vision into the world, we get way too in our heads. We get way into seeing the final destination, the big grand vision of how we want it to be in 10 years. And I think as artists, that's like one of our superpowers, is we have the big vision. We can see like visionary thinking years into the future, all that is possible, the new worlds that can come into fruition because of this one vision. And that's beautiful. So hold on to that, write down your big vision. But what we need to work on as creatives who like that comes so naturally to us is we need to work on simplifying and meeting ourselves in the moment of, okay, where am I at right now with this? I can hold that grand vision. And at the same time, I can look at where I'm at right now and realistically, like, what are the very next few steps that I need to take to start to build the momentum to get there? So we're simplifying. We're pulling back from the grand vision and we're focusing in on where you're at right now. So the first bone is getting really, really clear on your why. And before you click away and you're like, oh my God, I've heard this 1,000 times, just hang in here, because this truly is the foundation of everything. If you're not clear on your why, of why you feel passionate to create this, why you feel like you are the one to birth this into the world, why it's so important to you, why it matters, why you're doing it, it's going to be really hard to stick with it and follow through when things get challenging. And trust me, in any business you're starting, in any creative endeavor you're embarking on, it's going to get challenging. It's only a matter of time, and it's not going to get challenging just once. It's going to be a constant cyclical flow of challenges and successes and then integrating everything and then another challenge, another success. Like it's just this constant ebb and flow. And when you start to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I being called to create this? I think typically one of two things can happen. The first thing that can happen is it can be this really beautiful kind of like confirmation that happens where as you pull back the layers of like, why, and you just keep asking yourself why until you get to the core, it reaffirms, fuck yeah, like this is 100% aligned with my soul. It's what I feel like I'm meant to be doing in this moment at this point in my life. And it fuels you to continue to move forward. The other thing that can happen, and if this does happen, just it's okay. Be gentle with yourself, give yourself compassion. But when you start to peel back the layers of why you're doing something, why you want to achieve something, why you want to create something, sometimes you realize, oh, I was chasing this for the wrong reasons. I was doing this for the wrong reasons. And that's okay. Like we've all been there. Everything around us is trying to program us to do things for the wrong reasons, whether it's to gain fame, status, money, power, control, whatever the case may be. That's kind of what our entire society is built upon. If you pull back these layers of why am I wanting to do this and create this, and you realize it's for external validation or to be brought into a certain group or to be perceived a certain way by certain people, and it's not actually in alignment with your authenticity and with your true creativity and in integrity with who you are at your core, listen, it's important to do this as the first step because if that's the case and that's the place you find yourself at, that's a beautiful thing to know before you invest any more time and energy into trying to make this thing happen. Because when you move and create from a space of inauthenticity, you're out of integrity, you're out of coherence with the frequency your soul wants to be vibrating and creating at, it's either just not going to happen, it's going to be really fucking hard, or it is going to happen and you're going to create the thing and it's not going to be enjoyable. The process is going to suck. You're going to hate every minute of it. And when you do achieve the thing, you're not going to feel any sense of fulfillment, or you're going to reach the thing you thought you wanted, like the external validation, the money, the whatever, the recognition, and it's going to feel empty. It's a tale as old as time. We all know that. But this is why getting into alignment with your greater why behind your creative idea, your vision, is the first and most important step. And if you do realize that your creative vision is not in alignment with who you are and like what you truly want to create, that's okay. You can gracefully let it go and you can give yourself a pat on the back because you were willing to be honest with yourself and do that deeper work, that shadow work, which most people don't even want to go there. So already you're steps ahead, even if it might feel like you're going backwards and starting over. And by releasing that, you're actually creating so much more space in your energetic field to receive an idea, to receive a vision that is in alignment with your soul. And in my experience, when I have let something go that wasn't in alignment, I have been rewarded so many times by life by choosing to remain authentic and to hold out for the thing that is truly meant for me. Well, let's say you dig into your greater why and it is in really deep alignment and you feel so connected to it. That's how you know you're on the right track. So, through this process of getting clear on your why, you want to not just gain more clarity on why it is you're pursuing this and wanting to create this thing, whatever it is, but you want to start to establish some kind of emotional connection to your vision. We all know by now that people make purchases based on an emotion rather than logical thinking. And this works the same way. Like I said, when things get tough and there are so many things being thrown at you and you're wanting to just give up, what's going to keep you invested in what you're doing and moving forward is your emotional connection to your vision, your emotional connection to why you're doing this. That's why having a deep why, a mission, and almost recognizing what you're doing as a movement rather than just this one-off creative project is really, really important. Getting clear on your why will give you clarity to move forward. It will deepen your emotional connection to your vision, and it will make sure that you're in alignment and in integrity with yourself rather than somebody else's value system. Okay, so number two, we're talking about your systems and your structure. So this is anything happening in the back end. So, what is needed on the back end of things as a foundation? Again, this is that container that I was talking about. What are you building on, and what kind of back end systems and support and structure do you need to have in place in order to support, nurture, amplify your vision and kind of take some of the heavy lifting off of your plate? This is where technology, digital tools, like all of this stuff can be really helpful if we use them mindfully and with discipline, such as ChatGPT. So, not just outsourcing your creativity and intellectual property to ChatGPT, but using it in a way where it can structure your workflow, it can structure your task list, it can take this chaos of everything that needs to get done and help you put it into a structure and a format that is digestible and easy to follow. The key with this step, as with anything, is to keep it simple. It's so easy to get into the weeds of all the like fancy systems and structures and tools that you could have in place. But when you're just starting, having a very simple, clean, but strong, sturdy, sustainable foundation is going to be really important. But you want to make sure you're not just stuck in the ideation phase and planning and, creating task lists and structuring everything out, building out your Notion for months before you actually like write a single page or create a single episode or whatever the case may be. So start to ask yourself, what is the minimum setup that I need to act as a stable foundation in order to support me bringing this vision into life, into reality? As an example, let's say you want to start a podcast. So you have to start thinking about, okay, well, what do I want the hosting platform to look like? What kind of equipment do I need? What is my content creation process going to be? What do I want my creative flow to feel like? Do I want to be the kind of creator who has a really strict scheduled content schedule where like I plan it out weeks in advance? Or am I the kind of person who like I like to just get on the mic and start talking and see what comes up, and like I want to just record when inspiration hits me in the moment, and everybody is different. So you have to figure out what works for you. But start to question, what kind of structure do I need to place around this idea to start supporting it? In my experience, this step of figuring out your systems and structures is maybe one of the more challenging ones for creatives, because when we have an artist brain, we tend to freeze up when it comes to these kinds of things, like thinking about creating any kind of process around your creativity. First of all, there's a lot of stories there, and it can feel really stifling, and there's a lot of beliefs around how that's going to like actually block your creativity. And I understand all of that. I've been there, I've felt all of that. And also, I am a Capricorn sun with a Capricorn stellium in my sixth house of daily work and routine. If none of that means anything to you, that's fine. But my point is, while I'm an artist and I'm highly creative and absolutely, I love to just create in the moment, inspiration hits, and I'm like writing or speaking or whatever the thing may be. And there are certain systems that I need in place to make sure that my creations aren't just like fizzling out, but they're actually being funneled into some kind of world that I'm building that I'm able to share with people, because that's what I want. Not everybody wants that, but I'm here to not just create for myself, but I want to share it. I want to create a world and bring other people into it. And so if you resonate with that and that's what you want to, there are certain systems and structures you need to have in place. And it's going to look different for everybody. This is what I do with my work. So if you need support, send me a message, we can talk. But it's very important. Do not underestimate the freedom, the liberation, the creative space and potential that can actually open up, even though I know it seems counterintuitive. Once you have some systems and structure in place, it's amazing. The key is to know kind of what your unique balance is with that, because you don't want to stifle or constrict your creativity by being so structured and so systematized that you're like, okay, I feel like I'm working a 9 to 5 job now. That's not why I'm doing this. But you want it to feel expansive, like you can breathe, like you can put down some of the heaviness and not have to have 50,000 tabs open in your brain because you have those few simple structures in place. I can go more into specifics of this, but that could be an entire video on its own. So let me know if you want that. But just start to get thinking about what are the simplest, like maybe 2 to 3 systems that I could start to implement, even if it is just using ChatGPT to take my chaotic task list and make it make more sense, or break it down into like, okay, can you help me plan this out like throughout the next month instead of you trying to do it all by yourself and getting overwhelmed and giving up. You guys, ChatGPT is a whole like I could do a whole video on ChatGPT and creativity and like and social media, just technology. Oh, that's a whole thing. I just recently left Instagram and TikTok and it feels amazing. But that's like a whole topic. I might do a video on that. Anyways, bone number 3 is your action plan. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. It's going to be okay. We're doing this in like little baby bite-sized pieces. So your action plan. When it comes to your creative vision, anything in life, let's be real, you cannot actually know where it's going to go. You can have the big grand vision like 10 years down the road where you would like it to go, like I was talking about earlier, but none of us actually know what's going to happen. And that's the beauty of being on this creative artistic path is as you make one decision, the path shifts. And so it's constantly changing and evolving as you change and evolve. And I think that's really beautiful. And also kind of what makes life fun. If we knew where things were going to go, how it was going to happen, I don't think we'd really want to be here. Like that takes the magic and the mystery out of being human. So while you can't know where it's going to go, you can 100% trust that you will gain clarity and refinement through taking action. Someone said to me, a mentor like years ago, they said, everybody thinks that you get clarity by like sitting around thinking about things and you need the clarity before you take action. But clarity comes through taking action. It sounds so simple, but when I heard that, I was like, oh, you mean I have to like do things in order to feel like I know what I'm doing? You mean I have to start taking action before I start feeling like I have any idea where it's going to go? Yeah, that's kind of the game of it all is you have to start taking action if you want to start receiving clarity. And besides the systems and structures, this is the other place where I feel like so many of us artists we get weird with it. Like we have all kinds of stories and beliefs and reasons as to why we can't start yet. We can't do the thing. We can't sit down and start writing. Like it's a wild, fascinating thing with creativity and these soul creative urges where like you feel like you have to create this thing or you're going to die. But at the same time, when you sit down to do it, it's like it's almost painful. Like there's a million other things you would rather be doing in that moment than writing or speaking or creating the thing. I think writing, I'm a writer as well. So like I think writing is one of those things that too, it's specifically that where it's such a pain in the ass sometimes, but you can't help but do it. I think the thing I see most too with creatives and artists, entrepreneurs, like all of us, we let perfectionism get in the way of taking action. And that's another like whole separate topic, which I'll talk about a lot more. But we feel like things have to be perfect before we can put anything out into the world. And we all know that perfect doesn't exist. That's an illusion. If we cling to that, nothing's ever going to happen. But yet we still get so caught up in it and have so many excuses as to why we can't just start the thing and start putting it out into the world and let it be messy and unpolished and raw. When we forget that that's actually what people want. Nobody wants something perfectly curated. Like we're beyond that era of Instagram and content and whatever else where it's so deeply curated and perfected. That's just like you see that now and you're like, ugh, goodbye. Like I want the realness, the rawness. I want the fullness of this human being who's creating something. I don't want to just see them as the face of a brand or a business or whatever. Like I want to connect with them and their process and all the parts of that, including the ugly and the messy and the parts that don't make sense, or maybe the parts that are paradoxical. So just something to remember when you feel yourself freezing up when it comes to taking action. To put your action plan into place, we're going to break this down. So we're not going to even think about like 1 year from now, where do you want to be? No. For me, as a creative, that's so like I have a vision of I'm like, oh, sure, I would love to like have these things and blah, 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 blah. But also like it's changing day to day. I'm changing day to day. I wake up a new damn person. I'm like, who the fuck are you now? Like I look in the mirror, I'm like, what? Okay, like who are you? Let's go figure it out today. And then tomorrow it's the same thing. And honestly, some days, moment to moment, especially as a woman, like, my God, you think you know yourself and then it's different. And that's so beautiful. That's something we have to embrace as artists. But that's why trying to plan out so far ahead, like setting 5 year goals, 1 year goals, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who I'm going to be next week. How can I possibly have goals 5 years from now? So I don't want you to do that. I want you to just think about in 1 month, in 4 weeks, okay? 4 weeks, where do you want to be in regards to your creative vision? What kind of progress do you want to have made? Think about this in small baby steps because I think we tend to kind of like jump the gun a bit and overestimate how much we can accomplish in 1 month. And if you don't feel like that's the case, then, go for it, dream big. But I'm speaking to people who feel paralyzed when it comes to taking action. Like, this is one of the reasons why your creative vision has remained a vision instead of actually starting to come into fruition. The idea of taking action freezes you. And so, if that's you, we want to break this down into really easy, simple steps. So, in 1 month, like 1 month is not a lot of time. You're not going to write a book in 1 month. You're not going to get 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. Probably. Look, crazy things can happen, okay? But I'm just saying, let's be realistic so that at the end of the month, you don't have all these unfulfilled goals and desires, and then you feel bad about yourself, you beat yourself up, and you repeat this cycle of going back to ideation and just never actually taking action. We want to set ourselves up for success and understanding that what we're doing is not just bringing our vision into fruition, but we are breaking the loop. We are shattering the pattern of this belief that action is scary. Action equals danger. Something bad is going to happen to me if I start taking action, putting myself out there, doing whatever the thing is. We're not just taking action, we're also rewiring how you think about action, how it feels in your body, how your nervous system relates to taking action on the things you care about and that are important to you. So thinking about in 1 month where you want to be, what kind of progress you want to have made, breaking it down into tiny baby steps, things that you're like, I know in 1 month I can do this thing. And I'm talking like small. Like, let's say you want to write a book. Okay, in 1 month, maybe you want to have the idea written out. Maybe you want to have some kind of outline created. Amazing. Maybe in 1 month, you want to look back and say, I wrote for 10 minutes every single day, or I wrote X amount of words every single day. Make it small. Like I wrote 500 words every single day in the last month. Think about that. If you want to write a book and you've been sitting on your idea for how long? How good would it feel 1 month from today to look back and say, damn, I wrote 500 words of my book every single day over the last month? That's a hell of a lot better than what's been happening, right? Even though it feels small in our brains, that's huge progress. That's huge momentum. So that's how I want you to start thinking about this. So reverse engineer once you have your 1 month, I don't want to say goals, but like your 1 month progress report, like what you want to have accomplished after those 4 weeks. And you want to look back and feel really proud of like, damn, I did that. Then it's time to reverse engineer into weekly steps for this upcoming month. So again, breaking this down into even smaller subtasks in order to reach that goal at the end of the month. And this is where tools like ChatGPT can be really handy because you're not outsourcing your creativity in any way. You're not asking it to write for you or whatever the case may be, but you can plug in, okay, in 1 month, this is what I want to have made progress on. Can you help me break this down into simple, bite-sized tasks to plan out over the next month so that I can see this in a way that feels grounded, it feels realistic, and I don't get overwhelmed. Word it however you want to, but I like to be very specific when I'm telling AI what to do for me. So I will say, like, do this in a way where it feels really easy, where it feels like I'm just not going to be overwhelmed at all. And I can see really clearly how I'm going to reach my goals at the end of the month. Now, once you've done that, I want you to revisit step number 2. And I want you to start to think about, in relation to your goals for the month, what systems now need to be in place specifically for your monthly goals? So, whereas in step number 2, we were thinking about just kind of overall for this creative vision or this business or whatever, what systems need to be in place. Now apply that same line of thinking, that same concept to what you want to accomplish over this next month. So again, going back to the example of writing a book, and let's say that your goal, your main goal for the month, is to write 500 words every single day. Let's say Monday through Friday, you get weekends off. Okay. Let's say that. So now going back to step number 2, start to think about, okay, if I want to write 500 words every single day for the next month, besides weekends, what systems do I need to have in place to ensure that I'm going to stay consistent and devoted? And that might look like maybe time blocking out some time every single morning or every single evening and making sure, like setting a reminder on your phone or doing whatever you need to do to make sure that you're showing up at your desk to write. Maybe that means having some kind of social media blocker app on your phone that you can set up during that time so you can't just open your phone and start scrolling, or maybe you put your phone in a different room. Maybe that means creating some kind of system where once you do your writing practice, you do something to make yourself feel good, to celebrate the fact that you sat down and you followed through and you did it. It could be as simple as like going on a walk, listening to your favorite podcast, or getting coffee or tea at your favorite cafe. Like make it something small and sustainable. But this is not meant to be punishment or, I think we forget that like discipline and devotion can also feel good and it can be fun and it can be playful. So you can also think about like, what kind of structure do I want to create as far as making this into more of a ritual instead of just like flinging yourself down at your desk and you just roll out of bed and you're just like, oh, fuck, I don't want to do this, but here I am. Some days are going to be like that, and that's okay. That's also part of the process. But how can you start to ritualize and romanticize the process a little bit more? Maybe that's as simple as lighting a candle, putting on some incense, putting on some quiet music, like whatever is going to get you into the flow. Maybe it's just like dancing in your living room to one song before you start to get yourself into that flow zone a little bit more. So find out what works for you, but start thinking about what systems and structures are now going to support me in reaching my goals just for this month. And by the way, this monthly kind of planning intention setting, you can do this every month. So after the initial month, and you see how good this feels, and it's given you some structure while also you see the momentum happening with your creative vision and making it real, then you can have a check-in at your next month and do the same thing and just keep building and building and building. So those are all my notes. This was meant to be higher level. It's not getting into the nitty-gritty like I said, but I'm happy to make more videos about this process or anything around the creative process. That's one of the things I'm most passionate about. And I just strongly believe that we need more artists feeling empowered to put their work out into the world, to stand behind their work, to believe in what they're doing, to believe that what you're creating has so much value. And there are people out there in the world who want it, who are going to benefit from it, who are going to connect to it. But if it stays an idea in your head forever, no one's ever going to know. No one's ever going to get to experience your world and the beauty and the inspiration that you're here to weave into this tapestry of life that we're all a part of. So anyways, that was today's video. I hope you liked it. I hope you got value from it. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, leave a comment, let me know what you thought, and subscribe for future videos. I'm going to be on here much more, which I'm very excited about. So yeah, I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll have my links in the description if you want to check out my website, how to work with me, all of that. I also have a podcast, which I'm going to start cross-posting on YouTube when I do video episodes. So there's that. We'll see. There is a whole evolution happening. I just was sick for multiple days, like bedridden, and I've come out of it and I'm like, I'm a new bitch. Like, I don't know what happened in that bedroom when I like couldn't swallow because my throat was so sore from strep throat, but like, yeah, something transformed. Alchemy went down. I feel like that's what being sick does. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.